Have you ever noticed that the strongest people are often the quietest? Not because they have nothing to say, but because they don't waste words proving themselves to anyone. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, silence has become the rarest form of power. And this power is not loud, not aggressive, but calm, steady, and deeply rooted. This is the kind of strength the Stoics spoke of, the strength born not from domination, but from self-mastery. Let me take you back to ancient Rome, into the chambers of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor. He faced betrayal, war, and endless criticism. Every senator, every general, every servant had an opinion about him. And yet, when you read his meditations, you don't find anger or long rebuttals. Instead, you find notes to himself, quiet reminders like, "You always own the option of having no opinion." Imagine that. The most powerful man in the world teaching himself to stay silent in the face of judgment. Because he understood what most of us forget. Reacting is easy, but holding silence, that is strength. We've all been there. Someone criticizes you unfairly. Your first instinct is to fight back, defend yourself, prove them wrong. But afterward, what do you feel? Drained, unsettled, even weaker than before. Why? Because you let their noise enter your heart. The Stoic way is different. When insulted, Epictetus advised, don't rush to answer. Pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? 9 out of 10 times, the answer is no. Think of silence not as emptiness, but as a shield. A shield that protects your energy, your focus, and your dignity. When you hold back words, you hold back the power that others want to steal from you. And this silence is not weakness. It is inner strength in its purest form. I once heard the story of a woman who, in her youth, would argue with anyone who insulted her. Every fight left her more bitter, but with age, she learned the beauty of silence. I realized, she said, that I don't need to attend every battle I'm invited to. Sometimes, walking away is the greatest victory. That is Stoicism in everyday life. Not grand speeches, but quiet strength. And maybe you've noticed this in your own journey. The older we get, the less we want to prove, the more we value peace. Silence becomes not just a choice, but a necessity for a life well lived. So let me ask you, what would your life look like if you stopped defending yourself against every little criticism? How much energy would you save? How much peace would return? The Stoics remind us that silence is not the absence of words. It is the presence of wisdom. It is the mark of someone who has nothing left to prove because they know who they are. If these words resonate with you, if you believe the world needs more calm and less noise, then I invite you. Like this video, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, and share it with someone who is tired of fighting unnecessary battles. And I'll leave you with a question to reflect on. When was the last time silence protected your peace more than words ever could? Silence, when practiced with intention, is not a retreat. It's a form of action. Think about that. By not speaking, by holding back, you are still doing something. You are choosing peace over chaos, dignity over pettiness. Seneca once wrote, "It is better to conquer grief than to deceive it." The same is true with anger, insult, and noise. When someone mocks you, you can lash out, but that only proves they touched a nerve. When you remain silent, you show that their words found no entry point. That is real victory. I remember a story about a retired judge I once met. For decades, he had listened to lawyers argue, shout, and accuse one another. Yet he told me, the most powerful man in the courtroom is never the one shouting. It is the one who waits, who speaks last. Or sometimes, not at all. His silence often carried more authority than their words. Isn't that something? That silence itself can command respect. But silence is not just about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. When you refuse to react immediately, you create space, a sacred pause. And in that pause lies freedom. freedom to choose your response instead of being dragged around by impulse. Epictetus, a man born into slavery, knew this deeply. He could not control insults, he could not control cruelty, but he could control his response. He taught, "If you are insulted, it is not the words themselves that hurt you, but your judgment of them. If you stay silent, you withhold judgment, you keep your power." Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're walking through a marketplace. A stranger yells an insult at you. You have two options. You can stop, argue, raise your voice, maybe even fight. Or you can keep walking, knowing their words say more about them than they do about you. Which path do you think leaves you stronger? Which path guards your inner peace? Silence doesn't mean passivity. Sometimes, silence is the loudest answer. When you don't react, you force others to face themselves. They expected a fight, but you gave them nothing. And in that nothing, they often see their own emptiness reflected back. This is why Marcus Aurelius urged himself again and again. You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. He was reminding himself that silence is a choice to let things pass without attaching your soul to them. And the beauty of silence is this: it grows with you. At first, it feels unnatural. You bite your tongue, you hold back, and inside you burn. But slowly, you realize something miraculous. The world moves on without your reaction. People forget. The noise fades. And you? You remain steady. You remain free. In our time, where social media rewards outrage and quick reactions, silence is even more radical. To scroll past without commenting, to not take the bait, to protect your mind from endless noise, that is modern Stoicism in practice. That is strength. I want you to imagine for a moment, if every time you were provoked you simply paused, breathed, and said nothing, how much calmer would your days feel? How much lighter would your heart be? Silence is not emptiness. It is a strategy, a discipline, a way of telling yourself, I am in control, not them, not their words, me. If you find this perspective meaningful, if it gives you even a moment of peace, I ask you again, support this journey. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep building a community where wisdom speaks louder than noise. And here's a question for you to carry. What's one situation in your life right now where silence might be your greatest strength? There's a story told about Socrates, the great teacher of Athens. One day, a man insulted him in public, shouting, mocking, and trying to provoke him. Socrates simply stood, calm and unshaken. When asked why he didn't respond, he smiled and said, "If a donkey kicks you, do you kick it back?" The crowd laughed, but more importantly, they saw that his silence spoke louder than any insult ever could. That's the essence of Stoic strength. Your silence is not weakness. It's a refusal to lower yourself. It's the quiet shield that protects your dignity. But let's bring this closer to home. Imagine family gatherings, work meetings, or even everyday conversations. Someone criticizes you unfairly. In the past, maybe you argued back, tried to defend yourself, raised your voice. And afterward you felt drained, maybe even regretful. But what if next time you simply listened, breathed, and said nothing? What if you let their words hang in the air without giving them weight? You would walk away lighter, untangled, free. The Stoics believed that silence is not just an escape, it's a teacher. In silence, you learn patience. In silence, you strengthen your judgment. In silence, you protect the peace of your mind. And over time, that peace becomes a source of power that nothing external can shake. Marcus Aurelius, burdened with the noise of politics, war, and betrayal, found refuge in his journal. He reminded himself again and again, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. In silence, he found that power. Now, silence doesn't mean we never speak. It means we speak with intention. Our words, once they come, are rooted in clarity, not impulse. And because we've held them back, they carry weight. The Stoics knew this. Silence gives words their strength. Without it, language is just noise. Think about the people you admire most. Were they the ones who always spoke first, who filled the room with chatter? Or were they the ones who spoke less, but when they did, you listened? That's the legacy of silence. And let's not forget, silence is also a gift. To yourself and to others. To yourself, it's rest for the mind. To others, it's respect, the space to be heard. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. As we close, let me leave you with this. Silence is not an absence. It is a presence. It's the presence of control, of patience, of wisdom. And in a world addicted to noise, your silence can become a quiet revolution. If this message resonates with you, I invite you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need this reminder. Together, we can keep alive the timeless wisdom that peace is strength. And here's my final question for you. When was the last time your silence spoke louder than words? And what did it teach you? Thank you for walking with me through this reflection. Until next time, stay steady, stay calm, and remember, your silence is your strength.